So in this video, I'm going to go through the entire city of Virginia Beach, all the way through, talk to you about all the different parts of the area, all the different types of houses, what it's like to live in Virginia Beach, everything you need to know about living in Virginia Beach in 2025. Coming from me, a local, I've lived here in this area all of my life. Everything that I think would be helpful to know. What we're going to do today is I'm going to talk to you about all the areas. We're going to get onto the Google map. We're going to show you all the spots. I'm going to talk to you about the neighborhoods. I'm going to talk to you about the restaurants, the stuff to do, the things that I like to do. I'm going to give you some examples of just my experience living in Virginia Beach. By the end of this video, you'll have a strong understanding of the city and also where you'll want to live when you move to the Virginia Beach area. And you'll notice that each area from the beginning of the video to the end are going to be very different, especially at the end. And then you'll see unique spots, unique parts of town in each section of Virginia Beach. And as I talk about it, you'll notice that there's differences. And so each one, just stay tuned to each one, because I think you will find that if you haven't found the one that you like in the first part or the next part, you will find one spot that you like, because there are differences enough in each area to have a spot that's worth it and it feels more like home for you. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you on the map where Virginia Beach is to start. Now, if you look on the map, so if you zoom out, this whole region around Newport News, Poquoson, Williamsburg, Hampton, down to Smithfield, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, all these areas around here, Suffolk, including Virginia Beach, this is the Hampton Roads area. So focusing on Virginia Beach in this video, I'm going to show you, see here, it's on the eastern side of Hampton Roads. This is, again, the Hampton Roads area. Virginia Beach is on the eastern side here, and you'll see it is huge. It's almost 500,000 people. But for the size of the city land-wise that it is, I would say it's not that it's super sparse, but I think that there's still plenty of land that has not been inhabited yet. Now, part of that's because you'll see a lot of this green space here. A lot of it is country or areas that are hard to build on for varieties of reasons. Wetlands, protected areas, things that, even the city might say, hey, we don't want people building across this area. Parks, big parks, a city-owned property. Some of that is. So that has kept the new construction in Virginia Beach at a little bit more of a minimum relative to what you'd think, especially seeing all this what looks like vacant land, which a lot of it is. But for the most part, if you start, we're going to start on the eastern and the southeastern corner and go all the way around. So if you look on the south side here, this is the country part of Virginia Beach, starting with Pungo, right up in the top part, Creeds, all this around here is country. Now, country on the main road, if you go up on Princess Anne Road right here, which by the way is a long, long road, goes all the way into Norfolk, believe it or not. Now, if you're on Princess Anne Road, it's a different kind of vibe as if you drive off of Princess Anne Road, especially as you drive off in the sides here, because I'll bike. I have friends of mine and I will bike all through the side roads here in Pungo, all through Back Bay, all the way down towards even closer to Sandbridge, all these side roads back here. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to pick a random spot. This is, I think this is Muddy Point. Muddy Creek. There's not really a pull-off on either side, but again, the roads are so long that it's a nice place to bike if it's especially on a quiet day. I love going on a Sunday afternoon. This is a great part of town to bike through. Now, this is pretty common for this part of Virginia Beach as far as how it looks off of the main road. But if you're on Princess Anne Road, it's not that it's busy, it's still country, right? But that's where you'll see a lot more country, houses, custom houses built off the main road, and farmland. You see lots of farmland. And these are the types of areas that, as long as the city allows it, these types of areas often are the ones that are getting bought and developed and built into subdivisions or shopping areas. Now, this is not a widespread thing. If you go, for example, up and down Princess Anne Road, most of this area is still undeveloped. It's not until you get up into the closer part in the north part of Pungo where you start seeing more development. But that being said, it's going to feel pretty country as you go all the way up and down here. And even in the areas that feel closer to suburbs, this area is very close to Asheville Park, which is right off Princess Anne Road. And I'd say the bottom neighborhood that is still being constructed right now. This is Asheville Park right here. I just did a video recently about Asheville Park. Great neighborhood, anywhere from the $7 and $1.5 million range. Now, this is like the edge of country suburbia is what I would call that. Further down south from there, it's still like very, very rural. I have friends that live off on this side, and just to be careful of this part. If you do want that country living, that country style, thing to keep in mind about being in Pungo is that it can flood, especially around these creeks, around these like north. This is North Landing River, Back Bay, Ships Bay, North Bay. This whole area, it can flood. And if you notice, east over here, west over here, depending on the direction of the wind, that will influence how much flooding, or if you get flooding at all, in the areas on shore. So a friend of mine lives right off of Money Creek Road. Where is Gumbridge? Gumbridge Road, all in this area right here. So he lives right closer to the bay. And if you get a hurricane that might have easterly winds, so east to west winds, those winds will blow the water from the bay up onto the marsh and into the wetland areas inland. That can really cause some problems and make flooding a very normal thing up and around this whole side of Pungo. So if you are concerned about flooding, I would be very wary about the whole general area of the eastern side of Pungo, especially, or the area along the North Landing River here. But it's very hit and miss. A friend of mine that lives on the eastern side of Pungo, he doesn't mind it at all. He's been in his backyard where he's got literally water up to his, I think it's to his upper calf. He's seen fish swimming in his backyard. So that's not common, but it will definitely happen in this part of Pungo. Now, some people are totally fine with that. But as you go further south, Mundan Point Park is a great park. If you like a disc golf course, I played with some friends of mine a lot. Real nice disc golf course. It's just that if you live in the suburbs, it's a long drive down to Mundan Point, about 40 plus minutes to get down here in some parts. But great park. If you're already in and living in Pungo, it's a very nice park to be 10, 15 minutes away from. Prices in here anywhere from like the 500 range, 450 maybe if you're fortunate, up into those custom houses. This is where you'll find those custom houses in the, starting at 700,000, 800,000, $1 million, 1.5, those big ones, right? Those multiple acres. This is where you get those multiple acreage lots, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 50. This is totally different than the rest of Virginia Beach. So as you come into off of Pungo up into the Princess Anne Road area up further north, this is where it gets more into the suburbs. Now, if you stick a pin on that, if you go over to the eastern side, past this Pungo side over here, I've biked over in this section before too, getting over to Sandbridge. This is a very important beach because this beach is, I'd say, the destination beach of Virginia Beach. If you go to Sandbridge, you'll have those, those big houses where you go, those 10-bedroom houses that you can stay at for a week. You see a lot of those in Sandbridge. So I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about here. As you drive up and down, it's the style, right? And again, up on stilts, but you walk out your backyard and you are at the ocean. Like, it is quiet. It is, you're paying for it. It's a very seasonal beach though. So if you live on Sandbridge and you want to live here year round, you're going to see a different experience in the summertime as opposed to in the wintertime. So, but this is, again, a very kind of a rustic but very popular beach for people that come from different parts of the country, which is Sandbridge Beach. And then eventually goes down to Back Bay Wildlife Refuge. Again, if you talk to some friends of mine, Back Bay, going to False Cape State Park, one of the most underrated and least talked about parks, or just areas to spend time anywhere in Hampton Roads, really. So you're going to go back to, I mentioned the suburban country combo. This is where you enter into, you see Asheville Park, you've got Heritage Park right next to that. To the left of there is Sherwood Lakes, which is a very nice neighborhood in the 850 range. Like one of the few neighborhoods that has houses on a lake, a view of a lake from your house. There are others, but we'll talk about some of those. But point being is that this one is very, I'd say, pretty nice sized lake, but newer style houses, which is also hard. It's hard to find the newer house and lake type of situation combo. But as you go further north, you'll see you're starting to get the suburbs, right? Now, this zooming out, you'll see a general trend as we're talking about the entire Virginia Beach city. You're going to see a trend of different type or different ages of houses depending on what part of Virginia Beach or even what quadrant of Virginia Beach that you live in. The southeastern part is one of the newest parts of Virginia Beach. The city itself started developing kind of in the northern section Eventually started creeping down south of 264, which used to be Route 44 a long time ago, a toll road, going down here, and then eventually creeping over towards the southeastern side, which is where most of the new construction is now of what there is, which is not a whole lot. So you're going to be back in the south part here, southeastern part. This is where you're talking about Ocean Lakes High School District and Kellam High School District. These are two of the most popular in-demand high school districts in the city, which is a city people go to for school districts. So you're talking about some of the top in-demand of the in-demand city, right? That's one of the reasons why these houses are often priced a little bit higher. So you'll find townhouses in this area, just in this whole Ocean Lakes, Kellam High School District's southeastern side, in the, $350,000, $375,000, $400,000 price range for townhouses, but most individual single-family houses will start in the $375,000 to $400,000 price range. Ocean Lakes is a very important neighborhood for me because if you want something a little bit cheaper in Ocean Lakes, for example, that school district, Ocean Lakes is a great example of a neighborhood that for a single-family house, you can get, $435,000, $450,000, $410,000, $475,000 range, 1,800 square feet, 2,000 square feet with a garage. You can get that kind of style house with a yard in the Ocean Lake School District and it not cost too much more than the $450,000, $500,000 price range, which is relatively hard to find because you'll notice that as you get into newer houses, these houses get newer and they get bigger. So the bigger ones are more common, so it's hard to find newer and also smaller. That's why I like Ocean Lakes, because it's that unique type there. But Ocean Lakes is also very close to a neighborhood called Lagomar, which is there are two sides of it. Number one, and which is the north side is the newer side, which kind of a more McMansion-y style houses in the north side. I'll show you here, and brick. I mean, they're very nice. Built 10, 15 years ago, some new construction. But then as you drive across to the other side, as you drive into the older part of town, you start seeing more trees. And the tree coverage, you see, for example, this is a great, look at all these. They're more built in the 90s. But I do think for the type of house you can get in Lagomar, I think it is uncommon to find this type of tree coverage. You can see these tall ones towering over these houses. The style of house, which is unique, I like the uniqueness, and these big old trees, tall pine trees, and the sizes of houses and sizes of lots. So you can see that the space between houses is that much spread apart to where it just feels even more cozy. And I think that's uncommon for this style of house that you find here. And these are going to be mostly starting in the 7 and up range, 7 to $1 million, and the new one is going to be 850 to 1.3, 1.4. And then again, as you go across, you'll see more newer houses built in the 2000s, 2010s. This is South Shore Estates, which is one of those I was talking about with the lake. So not too many houses on the lake, but the ones they're going to be in the 8s at this point. Brick, same kind of McMansion-y style, about 20-ish years old, but you can see the lake is right behind there. You can see on the lake, and you see a lot of pools. It's a nice vibe up on this lake, and part of it's just because there aren't many lakes like this. So zooming back out again, as you go further to the west in this southeastern section, you'll find more neighborhoods. You'll find one of the most popular in Virginia Beach, which is Courthouse Estates, which is right here. You'll find a bunch of different mini neighborhoods within the larger Courthouse Estates neighborhood that, generally speaking, are the same. You'll see some that they just feel a little bit nicer than the others, but anywhere in the 475, 550, 625 price range. You'll see some in the 7 range, but 5, 6 is pretty common. And one of the draws to this neighborhood is that it has a very open floor plan and a very kind of open ceiling. As you walk in, it has a very grand entrance. Some of these, you can kind of see these entry ways, the tall entryways with the big windows. That kind of lends itself to that wide open. As you walk in, it just feels very grand. So that's a popular thing. And again, for this type of the school district area in Kellam or Ocean Lakes, finding something in the 5s and 6s with that feel is also hard to find, and that's what makes Courthouse Estates very important. And it's also close to North Landing Elementary, very popular elementary school too. So you notice Princess Anne right here, all through Princess Anne Road, which is that long road that goes all the way around here, curves all the way around. You'll find that Princess Anne, you see it says Princess Anne right there. this is something to be cautious about because Princess Anne, the high school, is so far away from Princess Anne, this area. Princess Anne High School is on the north side, or quasi-north side of the area, up towards town center. Like, where is it? Right there's Princess Anne High School. There's Princess Anne High School right here. But Princess Anne Road has continued. It goes all the way into Pungo. But this area, just keep in mind, this is not Princess Anne High School District. This is Princess Anne, the area. If you say, I live in Princess Anne, you're kind of in this area. But this is where you'll still find houses built in the 90s. Maybe some in the 2000s and newer construction that is closer to the rural parts of town, because you can still see this, the green, this is still, rural. Like the line, the country line extends over into the south part of the city, south central. So all this is pretty rural, and eventually it connects over into Chesapeake, which is right here. This is the line of Chesapeake. This is Chesapeake over here. So you're right next to it, which you don't know even when you drive across. It feels the same in a lot of parts of this area. So you'll find more custom houses around here, but individual neighborhoods, you'll find a couple pockets here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be rural all down here. Now, that leads me to being in this area, shopping. A very important thing to keep in mind, and this is the reason why we did not move to southeastern Virginia Beach, is that when you live in this area, your in-demand school districts are there, Kellam and Ocean Lakes specifically. The problem is that while you get all of the shopping, all of the things that you would need on a day-to-day basis is all in through the Ocean Lakes Kellam area. And that includes Red Mill, Strawbridge, shopping centers that are, you got everything. Big boxes, combination of big boxes and mom and pops, which, by the way, if you want seafood, the best seafood to me in the area, and by the way, Yelp ranked #1 seafood place in the country, Blue Seafood, which is in this strip mall right here. Where is it? You can't even see it. It's here somewhere. All right, it didn't show up, but it's right in here. It's amazing. You gotta just show up. There's no reservations, but it's awesome. You can look it up. You'll see. But this whole area right here is Red Mill. Red Mill Commons and the shopping areas around Red Mill Commons, Strawbridge, super convenient. Great restaurants. Some good pizza places, good places to have a drink, all sorts of stuff around here, right? The problem is that because everything is right here around Red Mill, which is a very common name to remember, you don't really find too much of a reason to drive further into the rest of town unless you want to go out of your way. And when you do want to go that way, it feels pretty far. For example, if you want to go to Whole Foods, you're like 20 minutes away. If you want to go to Costco, you're 30 minutes away. If you want to go to Norfolk, downtown Norfolk, you're 35 or more, 40 minutes away from downtown Norfolk in some cases. If you want to go to Chesapeake and you don't want to just cross the border, you're going to be 20, 30 minutes away from the central part of Chesapeake at least. So if you leave Red Mill, if you leave Ocean Lakes, Kellam High School District area, you're going to find yourself driving a ways. What does that mean? It means that if you have friends that live in other parts of town, good luck getting them to come on a regular basis too. Sometimes, but not regularly all the time. That's one of the things that I didn't want to drive down to the southeastern part all the time. I like it, but man, it's frustrating because it's a lot of start and stops, long drives down to this area. So keep that in mind, depending on what kind of lifestyle you want to live. So we talked about the southeastern side, talked about the shopping in this area, which you'll get a lot of, talked about the south central part, like as you get into the countryside. We're going to keep going further into the south central part. So as you keep going further, right over here, over towards like the Virginia Beach National Golf Club, real nice golf course in this area, over close to Princess Anne on this side. This is still going to be similar types of country, or you could tell it used to feel country, and then the suburbs just started picking up. That's kind of what this area feels like across near Lansdowne Commons, which is right here. It's the same kind of thing. It's like what Red Mill, which is over here, used to be. Like that Red Mill, that newish spot. But Red Mill 15, 20 years ago is what Lansdowne is. Lansdowne High School District is in this area over here near the big amphitheater, where I've seen so many concerts in this amphitheater. Like big A-listers, if the A-listers come, they go to this amphitheater. And I played baseball in these areas over here where there's a big new hospital, but used to be a bunch of parks. Princess Anne Park was over here, and that's where I played baseball in the 90s, high school and middle school. But you'll see this kind of areas that just feel from combination of countryside and suburban. And so you'll find more of houses built in the 90s and 2000s over here, closer to Glenwood, over into Salem. Salem High School District is over here. These are also built in the 90s, even going into the 80s at some point. So you can start seeing that as you go further west and start going further north, you start seeing houses get older and older and older. And that's an important distinction because, again, if you want certain types of houses, you need to go into different parts of the area. As you notice around Salem and going into Salem and the rest of this south central part of Virginia Beach, it is neighborhood. You'll see the difference in architecture because it gets older as you go further north and northwest, but you don't see too much in terms of vacant land. What you will find, though, and this is another theme across the whole area, is parks. So many publicly funded parks all through the city. So that's the one break as you go through the different parts of the neighborhoods is you'll see park. So then going from there, you got yourself going over to the western side, western side. You got some nice golf courses, by the way. Like if you golf, I'm a big Stumpy Lake golf course fan. If you like golf, if you like really nice courses, this is not probably for you. I like that one because it's casual. If I want a casual round, that's where I go. But anywhere houses built in like the 80s, 90s, 80s, going into the 70s, you'll find a lot of them up and down Kempsville Road near Brigadoon is one of my favorites for the $450 price range. You'll see around here Lake James, Lake Christopher, houses built in the 70s and 80s. These are two of those other lakes I like that have houses on the lake. I like Alexandria. I do like what you can find bang for buck all through the Indian River, Kempsville High School District. I love it a lot for what you get price-wise. From, again, $375 to like the $556 range. You get a real nice house, 2,000, 3,000 square feet, and for anywhere around here. So this is where you start seeing those older houses, compartmentalized rooms. A lot of my friends I grew up with also grew up in this area too. Woodstock Park, a great park that has like an old baseball field I played on a lot in middle school and high school. On Providence Road, if you're off Providence, you'll see some that are on the interstate, but you'll get like it gets kind of loud right as you get next to the interstate. But some of my friends that used to live off of like Avalon Hills right around here. If you come off a couple blocks, you're fine, but these are $450 range over here. So again, generally speaking, the theme is about 4 to 6 in this whole southwestern side. Eventually, you'll see that Greenbrier is Chesapeake, and it connects right into Virginia Beach side, which all the construction in this area is like more like built in the 80s and 90s. And so this feels kind of newer again because part of Chesapeake got built up in the same time period as this part of Virginia Beach. So more shopping, and you'll find that as you go through the entire part of the south part of Virginia Beach and even the northern part, all through here, you will find that there are shopping access points. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes away from wherever you are. So if you're worried about, if I want to move somewhere, how far is it to like the grocery stores, shopping areas, you'll find 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20. You'll find most of what you're looking for. The question more so is, what types of grocery stores do you want to live closest to? Because like I mentioned, as the houses or the areas are older or newer, you'll find different types of grocery stores or shopping experiences in the different parts of the city. And I think that can matter. To me, it matters a lot. So for example, if I want to go to Whole Foods is, we haven't talked about it yet, but Hilltop over here on the eastern side, Whole Foods, all the more of the healthier stuff, organic stuff, a lot more you'll find in this Hilltop area, which we'll talk about soon. Then if you go over to Costco is in the kind of an older rundown part of Norfolk, which is over right close to the interchange of 64. And to keep going in this Indian River Road area, Indian River Road is a very, very popular, very key road to keep in mind. It is very busy. Back when my parents moved here in the early 80s, Indian River Road was, I believe, a 2-lane road up and down. And the last place there's a McDonald's right on Indian River. You zoom in right here. Where's McDonald's? Chick-fil-A. There's McDonald's. This was My parents always told me this was like right where the suburban line stopped. Anything past here was farmland. There was nothing over here in the early mid 80s. And then the construction started, and it really came with a vengeance. And so that's why all these you'll see built in the 80s, late 80s into the 90s, because nothing happened. Nothing was built before then. And so it wasn't like you see some in Acredale. This was an older neighborhood up on this side that was already built in some parts. But then if you go over on this here, Indian Lakes, love Indian Lakes for 450, 425. Love Indian Lakes, anything over on this side, over near Rosemont Forest in this general section over here, Lake Christopher, I mentioned that before, Brigadoon. This whole area built in the 80s mostly, because again, you'll see some nooks built before then. That's more of the aberration than the norm itself. So Indian River Road eventually got built up to where now it's 4 lanes on both sides, I believe. And you'll see that the intersection right here, Indian River Road, you'll see that there's a spot right here. They changed the configuration of this intersection to where most of the cars that drive through, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. As you drive through, you see all these. Man, they changed all these this road paint. So what they're trying to do is there were so many backups through right at this interchange, because there were so many cars that were trying to turn or go straight, but it was clogged. Now that they did was, I think it was the first intersection like this in the entire country where you could not stop here. You had to drive all the way through the intersection and then make a U-turn right here. See this right here? So you turn here and then you take yourself all the way around, but you're going to turn and you veer right. See that? It looks crazy, but I will say once you're used to it, I do think it has helped a lot. I just think that I think that it's harder for people to get used to. And so again, zooming out, Kempsville Road, Indian River Road, very important roads to keep in mind. And we'll talk more about Lynn Haven Parkway in a minute too. But this southwestern side, I'm a big fan of for the price. You'll even find some 3-bedroom, 1.5 baths in some spots that are more like in the $330,000, $340,000, $350,000 range, right around even closer to Providence Road. You'll find Homestead, which is a neighborhood that is over here. It is right there. This area right here. I love this. I'll show you kind of what I mean. Let's do this. Nothing fancy, but 3, 2.5, 4, 2.5 for the upper threes, mostly low 400 price range. Brick ranch, well built in the 60s. Love it a lot. And as you go further to the west, you'll see the same kind of thing. So I love this. I grew up around here, Eastport Road near Howell Place, Clinton Street. This is Westview, which you can get a house in here for $350,000, $325,000. I'm starting to see them up over $4 at this point, but I do like this western part of Virginia Beach a lot for what you get. Now, going back into the south central part, we're going to just go across right this whole sliver right here. So this is Arrowhead. That area is Arrowhead. Next to it is Caroline Farms. This area, all through this part of the Princess Anne Road, which again, also still Princess Anne Road, Kempsville Lake, Larkspur. You got South Plaza Trail over through here. Windsor Woods is over on this side as well. All these neighborhoods are all built anywhere from mostly the 60-ish range, early 60s into the late 70s, 80s range. But this area through here, I think for what you're paying is also very underpriced. One of the reasons is because you are extremely close to the interstate system. So 264 right here, 64 right here. If you're close to either of these two interstates, you are in good shape to get to the rest of town, as long as you can get through the interchanges that are like for example, Wichita. That one is frustrating. That one's rough. But then over like towards Rosemont, this one stinks. This whole intersection stinks. Even close to Lynn Haven, that one's not as bad anymore, but there are parts of these interchanges. Independence is probably the worst one. So if you're close to the interchanges, it can be annoying, but being as close to the interstate in general is still pretty helpful, because it's not going to be always bad in these spots and these interchanges, but being close is very helpful. Again, okay. This whole strip, one of my favorite neighborhoods, bang for buck, all things considered, for about $415, $425, Windsor Woods, right next to Mount Trashmore Park. One of the reasons I like it is because you can walk from the neighborhood to Mount Trashmore Park. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Wood Lake Road right here. These are, again, not every neighborhood I like has to be fancy or super sophisticated, right? This is not sophisticated, but it's a nice house for the price. I love these around the 400, 425 price range. And I'm going to find, where is the walkway to get to the park? Right there. There it is. So drop a pin right here. This, you can take the road, cross, doop, there it is right there. That will take you to, look at that, the hot tub on the side of the road. Take you to Mount Trashmore, which is a great park to run around. Lake Trashmore right there. You've got multiple trails or tracks, running trails all around through the park itself and around the lake. This is literally used to be a mound of trash. Back in the 60s, I think is when they made it, but come here all the time. Picnic tables. You can come just to walk. There's an amphitheater now right here. This is a pretty nice park, and it's the one hill that we have in Virginia Beach. Look at that hill. I think it's 60-something feet high. It's not that high. Let's not get carried away. But it feels great because it's like, look, we are this city is so flat. We'll take what we can get, right? So this is important, but being in Windsor Woods, Princess Anne Plaza, being able to get close to this, I think, is helpful and important. And you can, again, get to different parts of the city pretty easily all through here. I'm a big fan of Larkspur as well. Anything off of Kempsville Road near Providence, like this whole area, near Princess Anne Road, I think you can find some of the best neighborhoods, bang for buck, anywhere in Virginia Beach in this area for $500-$600 price range. Get a real nice neighborhood, but look at those trees, big, tall trees, and different style houses, but most of them are going to be brick ranches or some brick two-story. But the lawns are maintained well. A lot of these people have been here for 30, 40, 50 years. It's a really nice neighborhood, really well developed. So a lot of people in this general area are like that. Living in Fairfield, another great one, Fairfield in the 550 range. And even towards Bellamy Manor, Bellamy Plantation, all through here, Bellamy Estates, over towards near the corner of Kempsville and Providence Road. I love this whole area a lot. It's not perfect, but again, I like the vibe of the neighborhoods and the fact that you can get to other parts of town relatively easily. The drawback is that it's such a central part. It can feel kind of condensed and crowded. But you're giving something up, right, to be in each place. I find giving that up, in my opinion. So this goes over to Lynn Haven Mall, which is over right here, Lynn Haven Parkway. Lynn Haven Parkway is a long road, and it has the main mall that is still very popular. I think, of all the other malls close by, Pembroke Mall, which we have not talked about yet, the others in different cities. This is the one that has look out. You will see the mall. There's the mall right there. This whole area all through here. It's the biggest mall we've got. It was before, but now it's the one that's left. And if you like malls, but if you don't, also fine too. But ironically, there's some houses around the corner for like $375 right down the street, which this is interesting how some of the neighborhoods that are in Virginia Beach, some of the more affordable, cheaper houses are in some of the most central locations, which I do find that interesting. So zooming back out again, next thing I want to mention is going back over towards Oceana Naval Air Station, right? Got Dam Neck, the Army base, but then Oceana is right here. This is, people are always telling me like, Sam, where are the areas with all the jet noise? I don't want to be close to jet noise. I don't mind it because that's where I knew a lot of the military people want to be. Well, Oceana is loud. If you live close to any of the runways, you know what I'm talking about, or if you have heard it, you know what I'm talking about. It can really throw off the living situation if you are near a Naval Air Station. But there's a map called the AICUZ, AICUZ Jet Noise Zone Map. That shows where all of the jets, the loudest areas are, neighborhoods are for jets to fly. This is important because one of the things I think that people often think is that Virginia Beach, jet noise, period. Well, most of the area doesn't have much jet noise at all, or if any. Most of the area doesn't really have. You wouldn't even know the area had jet noise if you weren't close to the air station. But the areas that do, as you get closer, it gets louder pretty fast. So this map can help a lot, and you can be in a spot where it will, you might be in a darker colored area near the base, and as you drive into a different part, different colored section on the map, you might notice a pretty distinct difference in how loud it is, and it can make a difference. But I don't want to be close to those jets. I don't like the noise at all. Same with I don't want to live on a main road. I'm not a thing. That's not me. And if you have questions, you can always ask me. I love talking about these areas. This is what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. I step by step want to go through a process to help someone go from I don't know anything about the city at all to I feel like a local. Now I can move here and feel comfortable and also be able to pick the area that they like and the house that they like because they've already ruled out the places they don't want and go after the places that they do. And they found that spot that's them. It feels like them. So that's Oceana Naval Air Station for you. And there are some really nice houses that are very close to the base. It's a shame. That is what it is. But as you go further to, for a good example, Ocean Lakes and areas near Ocean Lakes, over closer to Nemo Parkway, over down towards, this is Castleton right here. This whole section over towards London Bridge, you're gonna hear jets. You don't even realize how close you are to the jets. Some of these, let's just use, where's London Bridge? London Bridge, I mean, just turn. London Bridge is right here. You would never know. Like, this is what you see. You don't realize that just over those trees, surprise, there's the base right there, right? So you see it. So all it takes is one turnaround and you don't even realize you're that close. But this whole area here, you definitely hear the jets. This is Castleton, a very specific neighborhood that's similar to what you'd find over in, I remember that when I mentioned over in Courthouse Estates, this is a very similar style house. So I can compare this to Courthouse Estates as far as other options for the same style house. The problem though is that this is where you're getting closer to the jets, so some people don't like that. But same type of vibe, and I do like this area if you want that kind of HOA, more of a aesthetically pleasing, consistent type of a house. This is an area I would consider as Castleton as well. Anything through the London Bridge side, for the most part, you'll find some similarities to that. But all in all, through this whole section of London Bridge, Nemo Parkway, you'll find that there's some jets, but you also find that these houses they're going to be still the newer ones, 90s, 2000s. So they're going to be like starting in the 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s in a lot of cases, all through that area. For example, coming out of Castleton across the street, this is Prince George Estates and then Mayberry right here. These are two neighborhoods that I think are really great. I mean, especially Prince George Estates. You see here the house lot sizes are really nice size, but I mean, again, nothing fancy necessarily, but I think they're really nice houses for the price, 7s and 8s. But again, you get that extra space lot also. So again, you're going to still have the jets. So again, just because you see a house you like, don't assume it does not have jets. Just check that noise zone map, that ACUS noise rating, so you kind of know where you are in relation to those jets if that bothers you. But now going over towards the eastern side past Oceana, this is where it gets up in the general booth over closer to the beach, Croatan, which is a combination of tourists, but really it's a local neighborhood. But people will park and go to the beach down in this area, like in the south part of the neighborhood. But it is through a very real nice established neighborhood on the beach, Croatan, as opposed to the rest of the ocean front. I'm going to do an overhead here. You can see here, look at this. So you got the kind of the vibe, a little bit of a vibe of Sandbridge, where you got those big looks like kind of those destination 8-bedroom houses sort of on the actual water. But as you come off, it's more like an actual neighborhood. Now on the water, you're talking multi-million. Off the water, you're more like 1.234 to maybe even 800, 900 maybe. Right at this point, you're getting closer to $1 million is where it's kind of like the baseline at this point. But you'll see some, as you go further inland, you'll see some spots that some nooks with smaller houses for $950, $850, that kind of a thing. But I love Croatan if you want that kind of a little bit more quiet vibe as opposed to the Virginia Beach oceanfront. I do like Croatan, and it's just kind of a cozy little corner compared to just right across the road, right? Or right across the water. So as you come out of here, this is all, by the way, next to Dam Neck. That's right next to Dam Neck. Come out of this, by the way, a Virginia Marine Science Museum, now it's called the Aquarium, right here. Pretty popular. You got a zip line there. The creeks over here are quite calm and secluded. But as you drive up further north, that's where you start seeing into Rudy Inlet over here, Lake Rudy. That's where you get into the more tourist area. So here, all along the shoreline, you get, first of all, the boardwalk, which is right here. This is the boardwalk itself, where you can walk across over 3 miles of boardwalk from 1st Street all the way up to 40th Street over right, where are we at? 30 is Cavalier, near the Cavalier, right here. So 40th, this boardwalk is super cool. I mean, I just had dinner with my wife at Waterman's, which is down on 5th Street, and we could go out and we sat there and watched. There it is. We watch just the people walking down the beach, and it's a pretty nice boardwalk. The people that are tourists that are just coming for the ocean or just a vacation, they'll stay up and down the side. So you'll find that the tourist vibe is right along the shoreline. So as you come off of it, the further you go back, the more it feels like a neighborhood. For example, Shadowlawn right here. This is totally different than what you find over in like just a few blocks away, right? This is Shadowlawn. There we go. It's like an actual neighborhood, right? And these are going to be 6s, 7s, 8s, 2 million. You can pretty much get what you want in the 1 million, 1.1 range, but this is a traditional neighborhood. And it feels like that, but it also feels kind of like a beach community too. You can bike off of Norfolk Avenue over there, which they're going to create a longer bike path all the way across to Norfolk. It's going to connect to where this area is on Norfolk Avenue, but they'll start that relatively soon. Anywhere through here is neighborhoods. You got Beachboro right here over between the Boulevard and Norfolk Avenue, all through here. Lake Rudy, Lake Holly, all through here. I mean, condos up in this area too. This is a very different vibe than on the actual boardwalk. By the way, the Vibe District vibe is right here. This is where most of the action is for people that are, tourists that are driving into the beach. New restaurants, Commune's a good example. Hearth, where's Hearth? Hearth is right here too. There's Hearth. And Prosperity Kitchen, our favorite bakery. The sourdough bread they have is the best. Light Commune, more of a healthy choice. Esoteric is good too. But there's a new brewery also in the back over here also called Aslan, which is, I like it, like what it looks like. I've not been to it yet, but I'm a fan of what I think they're trying to do, more of an outdoor community vibe right off of the boulevard there too. So if you head down the boulevard, if you're close to here, this whole Vibe District, you're going to have access to plenty of restaurants within walking distance. 3 Ships, coffee shop, great coffee shop. Zoe's, one of the best steak places in Hampton Roads right there. Very good for wine. If you're into wine, they have a great wine list. The owner came by our table once and just started talking to us all about the places he's been. But there's some great restaurants all through the Vibe District. So if you live close by, like so on the Beachboro side, or even on Old Beach side, which is on the north part up here, being close to here, whether it be several blocks or you could bike, you can drive, anything through here is a cool vibe, but it's not like the traditional touristy spot. But as you get closer to Pacific, Atlantic, even Arctic, you're going to start seeing that type of touristy stuff start happening, especially like even on Baltic and on this corridor of 21st, 22nd Street. So Pharrell Williams, I've mentioned this before, they got a new wave park is being built also. Big wave park that's right near off Pacific Avenue. So this is an area that's being built up, and I think that for what you're getting, the type of house, type of location, it's a cool vibe if you like it. Again, hit and miss for me as far as the type of, I'm not a big beach guy, but I understand most of my friends are, so I've gotten accustomed to it, and I've appreciated elements of it, especially the Vibe District. I like the Vibe District a lot. So now, we've talked about that side. We're going to keep talking about the other parts of the beach here later in the video, but we're going to start over onto this side. We're going to now go into the northwestern side over here and then go into the area that's Bayside School District. Bayside is, I'd say, the cheapest price per square foot, generally speaking, in the entire Virginia Beach area over here. You're going to find houses built in like the 80s, anywhere from the 50s and 60s to the 80s and 90s. It's got a mixture of things. Cypress Point Country Club, the area around it, Cypress Point, real nice neighborhood around here, but it's more of like a community HOA type vibe somewhere along the water. But then you'll see some that are like older houses along the water as well, closer to Lake Smith, for example. So depending on what style of house you like, you might pick different spots in here. If you want a more of an affordable type of house, $350, $450, you can get a single family house in that range. But again, you'll see some that are big, 500, 600, 3, 4, 5,000 square feet, especially over towards the east side of this Bayside section, over towards Thorogood. This side is actually Princess Anne High School District, believe it or not, but Thorogood over towards Saw Pen Point, over towards Witch Duck Point, all through here. These are some of the most premier spots on the western side of Virginia Beach. You've got houses on the water that are multi-millions. You've got creeks that you can have boat access. If you're not on the heavy deep water access, you can get some cove access points that are just cool water spots that are still like 800, 900 range. But as you come off, you can be in Thorogood, a great neighborhood in Thorogood for like 550, 600 range to start with. You get some big lots in here, like real nice. Like this is what is like a Larkspur type of neighborhood, like the big trees, the older style floor plans. But you'll see that these lots are just a bit bigger. And I like that. That's what makes Thorogood, kind of sets it apart. So you get the mixtured styles of houses. Most of them are going to be like in the 60s style construction, but the bigger lots. And that's what people are looking for, those bigger lots, half an acre, sometimes more than that. And you're going to pay for it. I mean, they're going to be 650 and up as you get into larger lots, 7 and 8. But I do like Thorogood quite a bit. But as you get in the rest of Bayside, it's a mixture. You get some condos, some older townhouses. They're like in the $275, $300 price range. You get up towards Lake Smith, you'll find some random spots. They're like in the $350, $325 range up near Diamond Springs. Over closer to Independence, you get some areas that, a mixture. Like there's some weird nooks back in here, like off of Shore Drive, like in the north part of Diamond Springs, all through here. It's fine. It's just a different feel than as you go further down south. And so the area, like, for example, Lake Smith Terrace, I like this area a lot for like the $475, $525 price range, or even $575. I do like, again, same kind of thing with the lots style of house. You're going to find a lot of Virginia Beach style houses like this. And I have friends, again, that grew up in these parts of town, and I just got so used to it that some of these, like, they feel fine, but some people won't like that style of house, and it's totally fine. There are other places that have different cities that are different parts of the city that have different style houses, and it's not just like this, right? But as you come up, all through here, as you're getting closer to another beach, Chicks Beach. Chicks Beach is very, very important. Chicks Beach is like the neighborhood beach that you wouldn't, the tourists don't necessarily go to. They don't know about this as much. This is like that kind of that kick your feet back. You can walk through the neighborhood real easily. And there's the ocean right there. And it's almost like Shadowlawn over near towards the ocean front, but it is even more kind of casual, I guess, if you will. It just feels even that much more casual. And so I like Chicks Beach because it just doesn't have the same vibe. It's on the Bayside, right? This is facing the north. And you also see the Chesapeake Bay Bridge in some parts from here too. Like this long Route 13 goes all the way to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and tunnel over towards the eastern shore. You can see the road from there. So the closer you get to Route 13, not as exciting because you can see it, or it's really close. But as you go further away, I mean, it's just a nice background setting. And there are a couple neighborhoods that are even next to that. Bay Lake Pines, which is, I think, one of the best traditional neighborhoods that's close to beach that there is. You'll find Ocean Park right next to that. Love that. Areas in the bay. Pleasure House Point is a very relaxed, rustic, like park area. You can go take a hike through, and you can go out towards the beach. Very quiet beach. Most people don't even know that Pleasure House Point is here. I didn't know for a long time even. I just drove right past it all the time. Real cool place if you want to go for a nice walk. And it's right off the main road, so you pop on, pop off, and you're good. But as you go on Shore Drive, which is a very important road to keep in mind, you'll find a lot of restaurants going across all the way to Great Neck, all the way through First Landing State Park, which we'll mention in a second, all the way back toward the north end. Shore Drive is very important. Again, you've got access to condos, access to single-family detached neighborhoods. What happened there? So you'll see both sides. You got the kind of the beach vibe on one side, but it's the bay. This is the Lesner Bridge. You go across the Lesner Bridge right here. You go across and you'll find more restaurants over on the other side, the Great Neck side. They call it, this is the Great Neck over here. And I'll talk to you more about the Great Neck in a minute. You'll find restaurants, you'll find bars, you'll find mom and pop places, Shore Break, what else? Bay Local, my wife and I like to go there a lot. There's Bay Local right there, Shore Break's right there. Good place if you want to go watch football. Craft Burger Bar is very good too. Going up to Citrus, another great breakfast spot. Love Citrus. So there's plenty of restaurants up and down here. Now this is also close to the North Great Neck Road side, which we're going to stop there. And if you love this video, if this is helping you at all in any way, I would really appreciate a thumbs thumbs up. It really helps the video out a lot too. We're going to go back towards dropping down south. You see this is the Lynnhaven Inlet. This is the Lynnhaven River here. You got the west side and the east side. It's like the fork in the river, right? So going down below that is Little Neck. And this is where it gets into Little Neck, the two necks, Little Neck and Great Neck. Little Neck is the big cul-de-sac right here, which is a bunch of rural parts of town. Not rural, but like well, you drop in here, it's quiet. It's not rural, but it is a lot of trees, very well wooded. And as you drive off of Little Neck Road, which is what this road is, you have neighborhoods that spit off of it, like Redwood Farm. You got Middle Plantation. You've got Little Neck Point. You've got Kings Grant, which let me show you first where Middle Plantation is. This is one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of Virginia Beach is Middle Plantation because of the style of house, what size of the roads. The roads are wide, and the yard sizes are nice. But you're talking 7 to 9 mostly, unless you're on the water when you're bumping that up. But one of the most popular and in demand, and I like this neighborhood a lot for the price, is Kings Grant. So this whole section is Kings Grant right there. You see this whole section, this swath of housing or roads. This is all Kings Grant. These are starting in the 5s and go into the 758 range. This is the back corner where you get more trees in the back part of Kings Grant, where these are going to be mostly 7 and up, 750, 800. Real quiet, real well wooded. The water access points are really nice. And so I'll show you what I'm talking about. This whole area back here, oh man, some of the best waterfront in all of Virginia Beach would be on the Little Neck side and across over onto the Witch Duck side, which you can see across the water there. All this real nice water views. And I love it. I'm a big fan. And which, by the way, anything water related in general, if you're in one of these inlets or through the river here, whether it be on the west side of Little Neck or the east side of Little Neck, you're going to have water access on either on the Great Neck, which is here, what we'll talk about in a minute, or in Little Neck, or Witch Duck over here near Thorogood. Anything around here is some of the most prime water access points anywhere in the city. Down here to Thalia, which is a great neighborhood in the 5s, 6s, and 7s. Even into the 4s, the Nooks down in the south part. But great neighborhood. Steinhelber's, good restaurant tucked away in the corner of the neighborhood. But again, if you're on the water, you're starting the smallest spit of water you can find is 600,000 and 700,000. I mean, that's like. There's different types of water, right? Tidal, you've got, deep water access. You may have water like a creek, you might have an inlet where you can see the water, but you may not be able to get access to it with a boat. All different types of water and different types bring different values and price ranges. So if you want like the cheapest water, it might be 6s and 7s. But if you want to park a boat or, deep water access, mostly you're going to be in the 8 and up range. And then especially these big ones on the water, you're talking $1 million and up for a lot of these on the very edges of the neighborhood. That's the kind of the overarching concept of water access and water in the whole Virginia Beach, the north side. Most of what you'll find in the north side, or most of what you'll find water access is on the north side and not the south side. So any of these little inlets, that's where you get some real good value for water access. It's just the question is it tidal? How high does the water rise? What kind of boat can you put in the water, if at all? But Thalia, great neighborhood for the price. Love Kings Grant. I mentioned this again, 5s, 6s, and 7s. Brick ranches, like I got friends that live in this neighborhood or have lived in this neighborhood. You're not going to get anything super fancy here, but again, very one of the most in-demand elementary school districts is Kingston Elementary School, which is in Kings Grant. This is Kingston right here. Coming over towards the other side of Kings Grant, this is Kings Grant Elementary School District side on this side. So you've got two different Kings Grant sides. But as you go further south from there, these are going to be like in the 4 and 5 range. But again, I like the whole general Little Neck area as a general rule. A lot of my friends have grown up there. I spent time there. And as you go down to the south in 58, Route 58 is a very important road. And if you're off Route 58, very helpful, or Highway 58. The issue with Little Neck is that you have to leave Little Neck and go down south to get out. You're really, there's multiple ways out, but it's down the same direction. It's hard to get out. That's kind of, people often don't like that. which I understand. But if you come south from there, there's Pembroke Mall. This is where Town Center is. So coming out of Little Neck and just bouncing back a little bit, we've talked about this side south of 264, the north side right here, which is between Little Neck and the Bayside area near Thorogood. This is all like around Independence Boulevard. This whole strip right here is very important. It has lots of cool little, see Colado Coffee House. That's a nice coffee house. Right corner of Independence and Haygood Road. And up and down here, you'll find more like smaller restaurants. There's a good noodle place that makes their own noodles. Noodle Man off of Haygood Road too, right next to the Chick-fil-A. Where's Noodle Man's right there. There it is. Some other good ones in that shopping center, Haygood Shopping Center. So if you're in and around the Independence Boulevard area, the Independence Boulevard shopping centers, Haygood especially in that area, they're going to be very helpful to be near. Same goes through as you go down further south back into the south central part of Virginia Beach. This whole section just strip mall after strip mall after strip mall, which is kind of boring, but it's very functional. But the main difference here is that back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they developed what's called Town Center, which is here, the downtown of Virginia Beach. So this area, not too much for houses, got some flats, if you will, like condo style in the around Town Center, but more like strip mall, more chain restaurants, and then Pembroke Mall, which is across the street, but is now being knocked over for the most part and turned into, is being rebuilt currently into a senior living facility, some other mixed use facilities around here. But there's some like REI, there's a Fresh Market that's right next to REI. A lot of shopping. Wegmans, my favorite grocery store in all of Hampton Roads, is right here. So where's Wegmans? Where's Wegmans? Wegmans is right. This is Wegmans right here. So I love Wegmans. I love being close to it. I like being 5-10 minutes away from it. It's my favorite grocery store. But you'll see here, if you do the aerial view of Town Center, it's not a big downtown. Let's not get carried away. There's like 3 buildings that are tall enough. But this, because we're so daggone flat in the city, see how the skyline looks? This whole, look, that's all you see. So you can fly, like when I fly back into town, I'll try and see where the Town Center is. And so again, not the biggest. You're going to find more chains. Got a town square in the middle here. They have a nice big 4th of July party outside right here at the fountain right there. It's a nice area. But, just not get carried away. It's not a big downtown, okay? So got a couple skyscrapers, and that's about it. So, and being close to here is nice. There's a condo neighborhood off of Constitution that is over here that is $275. I like it for being so close. You can bike right up to Town Center. These areas around the just north of it, 400, 375, some of the Aragona, 330, 350, 450, all through here too. So you get some affordable houses very close to Town Center. So that brings me over towards the Great Neck area and then to the final couple spots that I think are some of the prime parts of all of Hampton Roads. So you've got going back up to where we started in the North Great Neck Road area here, all the way down south. This is Great Neck Road. And then you've got North Great Neck Road and First Colonial Road. This fork, this like wishbone, this is all Great Neck. And Great Neck is, I think, some of the most prime general areas in Virginia Beach and most in demand. School districts check a lot of boxes. You've got some of the most sought after historic neighborhoods like Allenton, which you're going to find $700 up price range, but real nice older houses, but on the water. These are like multi-million-dollar houses. See those big docks up along the water. Allenton's one. Bay Cliff is right next to it. Another great neighborhood with its own boat ramp right there. There it is. So I love both of these. I think Bay Cliff is one of my favorites in the city because you drop a pin, these houses, it's like combination of nice size and the yard size. It's like Thorogood, but I think I like Bay Cliff a little bit more. I think just because of where it is, but either I think would work fine, but I do like Bay Cliff a lot. But coming off of there, North Great Neck, these are some, you got water access, Bay Island, Cape Story by the Sea, cool little nook neighborhood right off of Shore Drive, Great Neck Point. These neighborhoods up here, you're talking $8-9 million on the water, $2, $3, $4, $5 million. My favorite neighborhood, I think, in all of Virginia Beach there's Chelsea and Green Hill Farms, right near the Broad Bay Country Club. This area here, my favorite street is Green Hill Road. You'll see all these trees that line the street. Oh, love this. Look at that. Love this. And so you'll have streets that pop up off of both sides of the neighborhood. Love it. Just love this neighborhood a lot. The houses are different, custom style, but you're paying for it, 800, 900, and $1 million plus. So the elementary school districts are very important here. John B. Dye and also at Trentwood. They're both like one on one side and one on the other. Trentwood's on this side. You got John B. Dye over here. Again, elementary school, middle school, and high schools are in demand over here. First Colonial is one of the high schools on one side. You got Cox over here on the other side. This area, if you start on the bottom part of Great Neck, different vibe than the north part. The bottom part, $400,000 to $500,000 price range to start. Townhouses in the $340,000 or $350,000 up price range. But then the jet noise becomes a factor because you're on the other side of the Oceana Naval Air Station, right? So it can be frustrating to be on this part. Shopping through Hilltop, which is a very important shopping center, prominent, can be frustrating if you don't like jets either. So being close to it's nice. Being close to it's also not so nice. But this is, if you want anything like health food, unique restaurants or stores that are more like mom and pop that have like unique things, I would check out Hilltop first. And you got the Whole Foods there. Also, you've got Trader Joe's there too. So all through this Hilltop side area, very worth being close to. There's a Target there, Walmart, and all that too. But point being is that being close to that is very important. Alternatively, as you go further north, real nice price, value for money. Some of my favorite parts are Laurel Cove on the western side, which is also Trent, Berkshire, which is over on this also same side. Going further north, like Shorehaven, the western side of Great Neck, I think has nice value. Anywhere from the 5s into the 6s, up into the 8s and 9s. You get some real nice houses on this side. Now, again, you're going to be paying almost the same for this side as well over near Lincoln Estates, but I just like the types of access points to the water. You kind of get tucked away in this corner, back into these corners over here, over off of Great Neck Road. You don't even realize you're in Great Neck. It's just a real nice secluded part of town. Southern Point, great part of town. And then over on the eastern side, it's fine, but you don't see as many houses over there. So it's kind of mostly like Lincoln Estates, and then you've got Allenton and Bay Cliff, which again, great, but not as many options over on that side until you get over to the north Great Neck area where Green Hill Farms, Broad Bay, all that is. So I do like the west Great Neck area, or even the central part of Great Neck. We're talking about Great Neck Meadows. The central part's going to be in the 6s as well. So you're paying more to be in Great Neck, but you are going to get a lot of demand as well. Great. It's really easy to sell a house in Great Neck also. Coming out of here, you'll see a lot more like law offices, more doctors' offices over here, more of the medical world in Great Neck, going down towards Laskin Road, which is right here. This is actually called Laskin Road. So as you go down Laskin Road, as you keep going, this is Bay Colony right here. It says North Lincoln Park, but Bay Colony, and then this is Princess Anne Hills. So I mentioned the area being very flat. Well, this is, first of all, you've got some parts that actually do have some hills. Through the Princess Anne Country Club area, going around near Cavalier Drive, in this corner here, you're going to find some spots with just some slight hills. Then if you go into the Princess Anne Hills part of town, I love Princess Anne Hills because it's got like that cool, like windy roads, narrow. You can see here when it gets crowded, it's hard, but bunch of woods, but each house is custom. It's cool. Some on the water. These are going to be $1 million to start with, mostly 1.5 and up at this point. Let's not get carried away. But anything close to Crystal Lake, anything close to the water on Bay Colony, these are multi-million-dollar estates as well. But I love they're great. They're great. And this has a similar vibe to me to Allenton, but it's a little bit more expensive compared to Allenton, all things considered. But then again, it's like the neighborhood vibe off of the beach. That if you're up on the ocean side, like the actual active, touristy part of Virginia Beach, being off of it, like 2-3 blocks, it's a totally different vibe. Again, like the Princess Anne Country Club is like the barrier to the rest of that back area. And it's like, there's some prime neighborhoods back there. The kind of the class of Virginia Beach. But as you go further north from there, this is what's called the North End. So where I showed you where the boardwalk stopped. Going out from there, past there, this is all quiet beach. So this is all neighborhood. So you drop a pin, you see that these are, drop a pin. It feels like a neighborhood. It's much more like well kept, not as kind of random. You'll see like it's just a different type of vibe in here as far as like how the grass looks. It doesn't feel as kind of disheveled as some of those other beach corners and nooks are. You'll notice a difference of vibe of, especially at the north end, either on the western side or the eastern side. But the western side is more of a neighborhood feel, I think, than the eastern side. The eastern side is like traditional, like you're right next to the beach. And there are so many access points to the beach. Almost every street has an access point to the beach. Over there, keep on going further north, 56th. Is there one right? Yeah, there's one on 57th, 8, like all, keep on going. See all these access points to the beach. And so the further north you go, the quieter it gets. But you drop a pin here, you'll still see the same kind of beach vibe, small bungalows. It's a mishmash, and that's what makes it interesting. But as you go on the beach side, it's more expensive. So anything you want to be on the same side of Atlantic Avenue as the beach, you're paying more than you're paying off the beach. On the beach, over $1 million and up easily. Off the beach, you could maybe get away with $700-800 to start, $800-900. It's hard to get under that unless it's an attached house, possibly. But the further north you go, you're going to eventually get closer to First Landing State Park and then Fort Story, which is the base back here. But this is all where a lot of my friends used to surf or do surf. Like they go to the north end because it's quiet. There's some good waves there for them. But a lot of people like that seclusion. The problem with this area is the fact that the parking is not super convenient, right? Because you're in neighborhoods. And so you have to be kind of careful about where you can park, what you can do here. But that leads me over back into Shore Drive. But if you're on the ocean, views of the ocean up here, I mean, this is some of the most prime in all of Hampton Roads. Like this is the view. Big house on the ocean, quiet. Like what else do people want? If you want ocean beach access, this is it. The north end is great. But the other thing here that is most important to know is First Landing State Park, of all the hundreds of publicly funded parks in Virginia Beach, this is the big one. Acres and acres of trails all through the First Landing State Park. So you can drive through here in it's a very like suburban city. All of a sudden, boom, you're in what feels like just real rustic, like wooded area. Let's see what I'm talking about. So you're here. This is like near Cape Story by the Sea. This is like the same kind of beach vibe on both sides, which by the way, before I forget, there's a trail that connects from Cape Story all the way into First Landing. We'll go into that in a minute. But as you drive into First Landing, you see how the vibe changes? Drop this right here. See that? Here. And then as you're driving into First Landing, it becomes trees. Trees. And it keeps going. You can drive for a few minutes in all trees. My wife loves driving. Look at that. My wife loves driving down Shore Drive in this corner. When she wants to just get away and just get some time to think and just process, this is a great place just to be quiet, and you're surrounded by nature. And so this is a great road to drive down. You can park. You can pay to park here and take bike trails. You got walking trails. Even a beach you can park and be on too. First Landing Beach. But if you're in Cape Story by the Sea, the neighborhood Cape Story Park. Well, if you live in Cape Story by the Sea, you can literally walk down this trail. This trail takes you, into First Landing State Park all the way in. So it's like your own little private access point, which is pretty cool. So if you have any other questions about getting into details about neighborhoods or about what's it like living in each part of Virginia Beach beyond what I'm saying in this video, let me know. I can help you. This is what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. So drop a comment. If you have any questions, you can call me, email me, text me. I have my contact information in the description. Let me know when you plan to move here. I'll make a plan to help you find the best places to move and help you move and relocate to the area. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.